Housing prices surged as housing inventories dropped to historically low levels in the first 2 years following the onset of the pandemic. In our recent economic letter, we find that the decline in housing inventories during these years was driven by an exceptionally high demand for housing rather than a low supply. Housing inventory had been steadily declining prior to the pandemic, falling about 3.7% annually from 2013 to 2019. However, inventory levels dropped well below that trend line in 2020 and 2021. This sharp decline in inventory coincided with house prices rising at exceptionally high rates, over 15% annually. By mid-2022, house price growth began to moderate significantly with a recovery in inventory, ultimately returning price growth to a more typical annual pace of 4% to 6% in late 2023. We can see this outsized demand for housing by looking at sales versus new listings data. Leading up to the pandemic, sales and new listings were roughly aligned. However, after the short-lived shutdown in housing markets in early 2020, sales spiked about 25% relative to their 2019 levels and remained elevated until early 2022. By contrast, new listings quickly recovered, but returned only to their 2019 levels, remaining there until mid-2022. This difference between highly elevated sales and the relatively normal levels of new listings reflects the unusually high demand for housing during the 2020 to mid-2022 period. Eventually, as mortgage rates rose in 2022, housing demand began to moderate. Both home sales and new listings declined in mid-2022, returning to more balanced levels. You can find more information on the shifts in housing demand during and since the pandemic in our economic letter.